stop you. Come back with me.
Against the sun, now we race. Against the sun, race. Against the sun, now we race. Against the sun.
Next up, let's hear the track that had people talking. Here is Hush.
Hi, this is Hush. I wanted to take some time and thank everyone for the support. I really feel like I got welcomed into a community that has an awesome, awesome family vibe going on. So that makes me feel very at ease and very excited. Fopspin is part of my upcoming EP on Monster Cat called Vonk, so keep an eye out for that. A very big shout out to All About She for the vocals, and thank you for tuning into the podcast.
Oh baby, don't leave me going crazy, 'cause I'm restless here. Oh baby, only you can take me, 'cause I belong to fear. You know my tears, they run right into rivers, flowing under mountains, can't get high. I'm onto something, turning into nothing, looking for a reason. Tell me why I'm bound to you. You know my tears, they run right into rivers, flowing under mountains, can't get high. I'm onto something, turning into nothing, looking for a reason. Tell me why I'm bound to you. Oh baby, hungry for you lately, it's like I won't survive. Oh baby, spare.
Alright, welcome back to the Collegiate Star League Hearthstone tournament. We finally got our players starting to get organized, so we have, again, Harvey Mud College, known as the Mud Elementals, versus UCLA, it's called the A-Team. So first off, we have It's Avarice from UCLA versus Drusuf from Mud Elementals.
Awesome. I mean, I'm definitely excited to play some more Hearthstone. Has taken a little bit here, getting some technical issues sorted out, but you know, they do happen every so often. But yeah, I'm excited to see what awesome decks these guys bring. As usual, last match, we did see some things that were a bit out of the ordinary. A possible Reno Paladin, although it wasn't 100% confirmed. An Anyfin Paladin. Yeah, a few different things.
Yep, so it looks like give our players the go ahead to start up the game here.
Alright. I mean, as usual, I'd like to see something like Druid as a blind pick deck, or Secret Paladin. I think either of those decks line up pretty well against most of the meta to a certain extent, as well as like Burn Shaman. Just anything aggressive or like really proactive, I think, is a strong deck to open up with.
Oh yeah, we haven't seen the Aggro Shaman from the last series.
Yeah, nobody played Aggro Shaman at all. But instead, it's going to be none of those things. It's going to be Avarice playing Warlock, what looks like Yeah, one of those Gormok Sea Giant Warlocks. Maybe he's got a Reliquary Seeker in this kind of a deck.
I think this is the list that they got number one in China, and the Rat also used this list to get number one on NA till the last day of the last season.
hmm Yeah, and just looks like a pretty standard control priest. It's got Entomb, Excavated Evil, Zombie Chows, Ascension Shieldmaster. A little bit out of the ordinary though, here for Drew Suff.
Yeah, maybe he decided that he wanted the Ascensions instead of another taunt, say like a Death Lord or so. Oh, Shadow Priest. I believe that is the Shadow card.
Yeah, Shadow Form. I mean, that's definitely out of the ordinary. Like we were saying, we did see some things that were out of the ordinary in the last one.
I think I actually saw the second ladder yesterday. It's actually not that bad. It kind of fatigues your opponent out and gets the hero power is actually really good. Especially when you can play both your shadow forms and you have a 3 damage hero power every turn. So he decides to make the trade here for Avarice on the Zoo side. He does have a couple options. I think using the Abusive Sergeant now to trade off into the healthy Zombie Chow would be fine, and then possibly just coining out another 2-drop. If he's going coin out a 2-drop, I probably want to see the Haunted Creeper over the Peddler, because he can't play the 1-cost card that he's going to get off the Peddler anyways. So, just playing the Creeper and the Abusive Sergeant. On turn 3, he could play the Dark Peddler, plus the 1-drop he gets from that as well. But it looks like he's thinking about the Peddler. If he goes Peddler while he's roping, he's not going to have too much time to think about which card he wants to discover.
Yep. Avarice taking his time here, considering his decisions carefully, does decide to coin out this Haunted Creeper. He definitely wants to start filling up the board for Mr. Sea Giant that he's got waiting in the wings here in his hand. That's definitely a long way out for that. I
Really
don't
nice for the priest
know.
to have both the Zombie Chows as an opener against the Zoo that didn't
Oh,
open
yeah.
with a 3-attack minion.
Yeah, it's really good. I don't know if you want to play Shadow Form here, though. It looks like Drew Stuff is really considering it. I mean,
The Shadow form is okay, but he can't use the hero power this turn. I feel like he might as well just hero power the Zombie Child and trade into the Abusive Sergeant, because on turn 4 he's playing Ascension Shieldmaster, and currently he doesn't have turn 5 play, so on turn 5 he could possibly go for the Shadow Form hero power.
yeah, I was thinking about just healing up the Zombie Chow as well.
I would go for the full value heal. I like this play too. It deals with the spiders and then it trades two of the minions here.
Yep. It works out a little better value-wise, depending on how Avarice plays things. So yeah, I think it's a fine play.
So for the Discover, he's got a Dragon Egg, a Shield Bearer, or a Lowly Squire. They're all not the greatest choices. If I was Avarice though, I'd probably consider either the Lowly Squire or the Dragon Egg. The Dragon Egg is just okay against if the priest has a Holy Nova, and then you could get one of the Dragonlings at the end, which it does end up taking. Trades the board and gets that 1 damage into that priest. Heal bot coming from the priest. I think the Shadow Priest also runs the tournament medic as well. So once they start shadow forming, they can still gain life.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I guess that's one way that could work. If you do need to get your life back, you get Tournament Medic. I haven't actually seen that before though. But I mean that makes sense. Like Tournament Medic did pop up in Fibonacci's Warrior list, which is definitely interesting. But it seems like that card can have some success, and
Yeah, I mean, if it comes out in the early to mid game, it's actually pretty annoying to deal with. Late game is not doesn't have too much impact because your opponent can just ignore it and force your hero power every turn. But yeah, like during the mid game, it's just kind of hard to deal with because at 8 health, it's got a lot of health, so it's hard to die. And so on its own, it's kind of healing you for 8 just because your opponent's putting 8 damage into it, as well as the hero powers, so it could net you at least like 10 life.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. That's definitely one way to think about it. Um, yeah, Drew Stuff did end up going with his Shadow Form on turn 5. Get that Mind Spike into play, and he's cashed it in a couple times now. Killed off 2 pretty small minions, but, you know, value is value.
Yeah, what's nice here is
And,
that he also has the Excavate Evo, so if Everest starts to overcommit too much to the board, he could just use Excavate Evo and clear it up. Like, even the Lothab, he can't play it this turn, but next turn he can use it, plus the hero power to clean up that Lothab. This turn is a little bit rough. He doesn't, since his hand is full of spells. And he probably wants to heal a bit more with that heal bot. If he just plays it for tempo, it just dies to the 2-1 and the 1-1. So if I was Drew Stuff, I would just hero power down this Lothab and then set it up for the Excavate Evo next turn.
Yeah, yeah, it definitely seems like a strong play here. Get that Excavated Evil set up to clear things. The Sea Giant is going to mess with things a little bit, but Shadow Word Death should be able to take care of that pretty easily.
Yep, and he has just enough mana to do so too. I think Evers wanted to play the Sea Giant over the Dr. Boom on curve because of a potential Light Bomb. So if Light Bomb had happened, then he could play Dr. Boom as a follow-up and it's a bit better. Might as well play the Sea Giant now while he has the minions on the board.
Yeah, agreed. And Excavated Evil is going to basically be a dead card now in Everest's deck.
Yeah, it's pretty counterintuitive for what the Z deck wants to do. And we just see Average just slam down that Dr. Boom. Just pass the turn back. Drew Stuff.
Right.
And Drew Stuff has a pretty good answer. He could Holy Fire the Boom and then ping it, or he could use the Entomb to take it from him. I think if I was Drew Stuff, I would probably just take the Dr. Boom because there's not too many targets he would want to entomb anyways. And yeah, so it looks like he's going for that. This lets him also ping off one of the minions. It just reduces the most amount of damage on the board.
Yeah, Confessor Palatris also, I'm just looking at, and Drew Stuff's hand is definitely an interesting choice. I mean,
yeah,
it's
this deck does want to just hero power as much as possible to get value. So I agree with the Inspire cards.
I mean, it's something I've tried out before. It's cool, but it's a little bit inconsistent. Like, it's powerful in certain situations, but I feel like something like Ysera, or something along those lines can be better a lot of the time. I guess it synergizes nicely with Shadow Form, especially since he's playing 2. Once he gets that hero power upgraded, he's going to want to use it pretty much every turn. So that's understandable.
Ooh. Big play from Avers here, going for the implosion to pop his egg. What's funny about this is that it actually rolled for 4, which is normally good, but then he can't play his Reliquary Seeker, which he wanted to do, I think. Because now his board's too full.
Yeah. A bit awkward. I mean, the magic number there would have definitely been 3. That would have been absolutely perfect, but maybe a little too perfect, I mean.
It's actually fine for him because this actually works out because Drew Stuff doesn't have any AoE spells anymore. These imps have a lot of pressure on him. Looks like he's going to use that Holy Fire. Heal up for 5, get rid of a 4 attack minion, and probably just ping off one of these. I would assume he would ping off the imp just for Magana's purposes.
Yeah, and also just because you don't really need to. Well, I guess you could ping a Boombot because Boombots help to control the board, but the issue for Drew Stuff here is even though he's killing things, he's still behind because if all you're doing is answering what your opponent plays and not putting anything in play for yourself, you're not really going to be able to catch up because, like, especially against a deck like this, like Zoo, that can just keep drawing, he's just going to keep refilling the board with threats. And if Drusov doesn't have his own stuff in play, like dealing damage and slowly winning him the game, then, he's not really going to get anywhere with all this removal he has.
Yep, and Everest went for the board flooding play using the Cormac just for face here, trying to get the win as soon as possible. Drusov, luckily he had drew into the second heal boss, so he could heal pretty much back up to full life here. Still in look for that light bomb or holy nova.
Yep, another 16 HP. I mean, it's nice, but he's, like I said, he's got to start taking the board back. I don't know if he's going to be able to do that.
Boombot hitting face is a little bit awkward here, but he does have that Night Juggler, so he's got quite a few chances of just hitting the anti-heal bot so he could trade in his 2/1/1s. I don't know how much Avarice wants to commit too much to the board because he knows that Drusov doesn't have any AoEs, so he might just be going all in here. But if he top decks it, he might get punished. For Drusov, he draws the Antique. Oh no, there's the Tournament Medic. I'm not too sure how well the Tournament Medic is good here. He can just use the Cabal Shadow Priest to take the Imp Gang boss, but if he just and then he could ping off the Knife Juggler, leaving 10 damage on the board. So in his mind, he thinks that he's alive from the board, but from what we see in Avarice's hand, he's got the Doom Guard to just close out the game.
Yeah. Yep, Avarice got plenty of damage here, it seems, and yeah, even though Drusov killed a lot of things, like I was saying, he just didn't really take control of the board at any point. I mean, you can have removal for days and still end up losing to minions because, like, if you don't have your own minions to fight the minions and gain value like that, then you just can't really get anywhere. So yeah, that's going to be a win for Avarice, starting it off for the A team from University of California. A 1-0 lead. And once again, they are 3-0 in the season. We're going to see if they can make it to 4-0. We're going to get this next matchup ready. It's going to be Rec 179 from Harvey Mud College versus Tosca from University of California.
Yep, sounds good. It looks like we're just going to get our players ready here.
Alright, looks like the players are getting ready to start.
Yep, it looks like they are in game now, so let's get on in. Again, we got Tosca from UCLA representing the A team versus Rec 179 from Mud Elementals of Harvey Mud College. So it looks like we got Secret Paladin coming from UCLA side. They do have the Mysterious Challenger, but they do also have 2 Secrets and a Blessing of Kings, which doesn't really do that much in the early game against Warrior. So they decided to throw it back, which I understand, but they do decide to keep Mysterious Challenger, which is interesting. But then they do have the coin, so I do understand this play. I myself have kept Challenger in my opening hand when I'm on the coin. And we see on Harvey Mutt's side that they got Control Warrior, looks like, as we can tell from the double Shield Maidens.
Yep, Control Warrior's popular tonight. I haven't seen any patrons. I mean, we've seen 3 Warriors so far, huh? And they've all 3 been Control?
Yeah, they've all been Control. The Secret Pally has a pretty good curve here. They got Cloud Camera this turn into Pilot Destroyer next turn into Coin Challenger to another Challenger. It's going to be pretty tough for the Control Warrior in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I think it definitely is tough. A lot of Control Warriors play 2 brawls these days, which can be helpful, but you know, it's kind of like that priest game we just saw. Even if you have a lot of removal, if you can't stick your own threat and start ending the game your own way, you can just lose in the end to minions either way. Like even if you kill a bunch of minions, they can still do a lot of work and finish you off in the end. But yeah, Rex got some interesting card choices so far here. He's got a Slam, he's got a Bash, a Ysera, which hasn't been so popular of late, but seems like Rec likes it in his deck.
And the pickup of the Divine Favor for Tosca is actually pretty good here. His hand is pretty expensive with the 6 drops, but after he just dumps all those down, the Control Warrior probably will have a couple cards, or a few more cards than the Paladin here for the Divine Favor to get some value. Just because looking at the Control Warrior's hand, he does have quite a few expensive cards.
Yeah, definitely a clunky hand. Loatheb drawn is okay. It's not really a great time to play it though. I mean, he could just start throwing down his 5/5s, a 5/5 here, 5/5 there. I mean, he's got Loatheb, Shield Maiden, and Shield Maiden, but looks like he's just gonna go with Bash.
Honey Creeper is pretty good for the Paladin.
Yeah, that's definitely a headache. I mean, you kill this thing that has Death Rattle, and you're like, all right, this sucks. This is gonna make another minion, and then it makes a minion that makes more minions. Like, it's just, oh man, so brutal.
Yeah.
Can't wait for Piloted Shredder to rotate out.
Oh yeah.
That's standard.
So Tosca coins out the Mysterious Challenger, which I actually really like, because not only does it get the secrets out of your deck, but the Warrior doesn't have anything set up, so it's going to be super hard for them to deal with the secrets here. It would be a different story if they had a couple minions on the board or a weapon set up, but the Control Warrior has nothing set up. So this Mysterious Challenger is a lot stronger than just a Sludge Belcher. And we can check the secrets here. So got the Standard, Avenge, Compare, Spirit, Noble Sacrifice, and Redemption. So we aren't seeing any Repentance coming from it.
Yeah, Repentance is the least popular secret for sure. It has its moments where it shines, but it's just not consistent enough.
You mean
and
Eye
when
for
5
Eye
secrets
is more popular?
Well, I mean, of the secrets people actually play, yeah, Sacred Trials, you know, like that's hanging out in there. But yeah, I feel like when 5 secrets come into play, you just automatically know one's Repentance, and it's Repentance, and it's so easy to play around that. Sometimes you don't really have the option to, but usually you do.
Yeah.
The rest of the secrets are a little more difficult to play around because they're all pretty solid in their own right, and not the best avenge here for Rec, but it's I don't know. I don't think he should have played the BGH.
Uh, yeah, that might have been. He might be playing a bit too fast where he just drops the BGH, realizes he can't target anything, but then it's already played on the board. That or he just wanted to see if it was a repentance, possibly, to try to set up the next minion he plays. But I feel like he could have just played the Acolyte Pain and it would have been better for him.
Yeah, I think the Acolyte would have been better. I mean, competitive spirit's way more popular than repentance, and there's going to be a chance to just BGH that mysterious challenger on the next turn. Then you hopefully draw some way to enable your execute. I mean, either way, he's in a really, really rough spot here. Tosca's got like a really full hand, lots of threats, and even when he does run out of cards, he's got a divine favor.
So I
To
think
catch back up a little bit.
I think Tosca's thinking about if he wants to play the second challenger and play around the and play more into the brawl possibility. He decides to go for it. I think it's fine considering his hand is full of such good cards that he could just lose the challenger anyways if it is a brawl. Brawl would leave him with spiders and one more minion anyways, and that would take the entire turn.
Yep. Um, yeah, and Brawl is not here for Rec. I mean, even if he did have it, like you mentioned, it's just like the board is gonna get filled up again. With Knife Juggler or Sludge Belcher or like Shielded Minibot. There's a lot of ways he could play it.
Oh man,
And
that
is this
spider.
lethal?
That spider's the biggest for him.
Yep, an 8/7 Haunted Creeper. It's
Coming from a
monstrous.
piloted shredder.
That thing was piloting that shredder just a couple minutes ago, but here it is now, out on its own, an independent, strong spider. But yeah, I think this is lethal damage
I
for
think so too.
Tosca.
He almost
And
has
this is gonna
30
be
damage from birth.
Yeah, wow. I mean, this is going to be a quick 2-0 lead from the A team. Once again, from University of California. I mean, I like their picks. You know, just looking at the match so far, you open up with Zoo, you follow it up with Secret Paladin. Like, these decks are both very, very solid in like a blind pick format like this. And now I think it seems like a good time to just play Druid. Or if you want to play something like Freeze Mage, that's fine. The Warrior's out of the way, but then again, you could see the Druid from Harvey Mudd, so that's a little bit risky. Maybe they'll play Aggro Shaman. That's another solid blind pick to play there. But yeah, next up it's going to be J-Man 110897 versus Exalticom.
Yep.
And
See
yeah,
if
it's
they
going to
are
be
ready
game
to
3 of the
go.
series. Let's see. All right, the players are just deciding on their decks, and yeah, I mean, once again, I think something like Aggro Shaman or Druid would be good here for the A team to close this series out. But
Yeah,
we'll
they have
see
a
if they
lot of
decide to bring.
options.
Yeah.
So far, what has the Mud Elementals played? They played Warrior and what was their first class? Paladin.
I think it was
Oh, no,
Paladin.
Priest. It was Priest.
Yeah, Priest.
So Priest and Warrior are gone. Let's try. They have a lot of options. They could even go for like a Hunter if they really wanted to, since Hunter is mainly just weak against Priest and Warrior. Um, but I guess a
Well,
better version of that would just be the Aggro Shaman. They don't have to deal with excess healings, so just
yeah,
pure
it's
burn is enough.
it's kind of what I was thinking about too. But it looks like University of California does bring out the Druid here, and Harvey Mudd accurately calls it with their Secret Paladin. I think you know It just seemed like a good spot to play Druid, and an Oiltron is in the hand for Exalticom there. An interesting choice. I wonder if this Druid deck is different or if it's like kind of the standard mid-range. Ooh, okay. I guess it's Mech Druid. There's a Mech Warper.
Oh man, this is gonna be interesting.
I mean, this deck is really, really snowbally. Not super consistent. I would say it's like less powerful than a normal Druid deck with an average draw, but with a good draw, it's really explosive.
He could play 5 out of 6 cards in his hand if he wanted to. Just inundate out
Yeah,
the
just
Mech
throw his
Warper.
whole hand onto the board.
Yeah, I mean, is it really that bad though? I think he's
Yeah,
going for it.
I don't really think it's bad. I'm just wondering if it's worth it. I mean, looks like Exalticom.
Because if he top decks into, say, like a spider tank, he could just play it too. So I actually think this is a really good play. What's the
and
Paladin
that's-
going to do on turn 2 against 4 minions?
It's literally 5 cards played on turn 1 by
Just
a Druid
Druid
player. I
things.
mean, if you count the coin as a card, yeah, it's 5. And J-Man just deciding how he wants to respond. He'll drop a humble shielded mini bot. Mark of the Wild, not bad.
Yeah, so Medicom actually has a couple of options here. Now he could decide to use the hero power, and then I would assume he'd trade. I think you could value trade the Mech Warper because the Paladin doesn't have coins, so he can't coin out Consecrate here. Muster is protected from with the Neutron.
Yeah, for sure. And if you do want to buff up your Mech Warper, you could do it with Mark of the Wild next turn, although it'll still be weak to Consecration in that case because it'll have taunt, it could just get attacked. Darnassus Aspirant drawn. Mark of the Wild doesn't seem great here.
Yeah, no matter what he busts, it's going to be weak against Consecration. But what play would be good against Consecration? Because even if he goes for the Darnassus,
I think this is just the time where you decide, am I going to play around Consecration or am I not? Because if you're going to play around it, I think you hero power this turn and clear all the 1/1s. And if you're not, you can go with one of the other 2 plays. Either one's pretty much the same, Mark of the Wild or Darnassus Aspirant. I mean, they're both really weak to Consecration, so
yeah,
you just
and
you gotta decide.
you're probably thinking if you want, like the Darnassus here, the extra mana doesn't really do anything because he needs 6 mana to play the rest of the 2 cards. So he might just. I think developing the body would be a bit better, but that would just be my personal play. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, another thing to consider is most Secret Paladins don't really play that many Consecrations. Like, some of them play 1, some of them play 0. I would say very few of them play 2. So, it's usually fine to just play into it and hope for the best.
Yeah, it's normally not something the Paladin's going to keep in the mulligan against a Druid.
Oh yeah, you would never keep that against Druid, even with coin. Unless you like knew for sure it was like Leper Gnome aggro Druid or something like that.
Yeah. And Metacom's starting to just run out of cards, run out of steam here. So the Paladin is able to start to stabilize. That Muster for Battle, I feel like, did a lot in helping with that.
Yep. I think he's still got some chances here to draw into some good things. Like, he could silence this and then trade his guy, but then he'll lose the Mech Warper. So it does seem a little better to play an Oiltron and Darnassus Aspirant this turn. Just because I think it builds a more resilient board.
Yeah, and just let his Shredder trade into your sapling anyways. It's probably fine.
Yep.
Because if he trades if he wants to do a value trade on the Neutron, it's just going to die to the Mech Warper, which is a 2/1. So he better just trade it into the 3/2 taunt.
Yep, and then he gets value off of his Death Rattle immediately as well. He might not be considering Keeper in this situation.
I mean, he does have the Cog Hammer here, which is actually pretty good.
Yeah, Coghammer Haunted Creeper does look like a solid play this turn. And you'd probably just use your weapon to pop the Divine Shield, right? You can use.
Yeah, because the Divine Shield of your shirt is going to get popped anyway, so might as well just take the less damage and hit the sapling with your shredder and then pop the Divine Shield with the cog hammer. Is there any... There wouldn't be any benefits of playing the Haunted Creeper first and trying to get on the Haunted Creeper. So this is the correct ordering.
Yeah, I agree. And I think you would rather take the less damage. Yeah, J-Man is going to go ahead and do that. And I mean, he has taken a good amount of damage so far. Looking at the health totals, he's at 17. Okay, Fell Reaver. I mean, it's a mech. It's big. It gets things done.
You could also alternatively use the Keeper of the Grove and either silence or hit the Shredder. But it looks like he's just gonna put a Fell Reaver. He could just trade in the Mech Warper and Hero Power down the Shredder, and then hopefully the whatever comes out of the Shredder isn't too big of a deal.
Yeah, I think he doesn't care about his life total at all in this case because, you know, he's the aggressor. It shouldn't really matter. Paladin doesn't really have burst. I mean, outside of Blessing of Kings, but that's not really going to burst you from a high life total, so.
Yeah,
Bomber.
and the Fell Reaver is pretty hard to deal with as a Secret Paladin. They don't have, like, the removals. At best, they could use, like, a Keeper of Udaman.
Yeah. I've seen some people play Aldor Peacekeeper, like, as a one-of.
Oh yeah, I've done that before too. But that was before Uderman came out.
Yeah, I mean, there's the Keeper herself. She has shown up on time, but even if you keeper it, I mean, you could keeper it, and then the downside is going to still sit there and play, so maybe...
Yeah, you could probably just ignore it and leave it as 3-3 to hopefully just mill cards. Probably from Metacom's side, he's just going to silence the Fell Reaver then, and it would just actually make it better for him. Because he doesn't mill any cards, and he has an 8-8. The Keeper didn't do anything.
Yeah, that would actually be really solid. Alright, so looking at the cards milled, a Savage Roar and a Force of Nature and an Innervate down. So hopefully J-Man keeping track of those. That's going to be the second Force of Nature.
Yeah, J-Man actually has to draw a taunt next turn because otherwise he's just going to die to the Force of Nature, even if he could clear this board. So he would
looks
need
like
to get like a... What do you need?
Yep, cleaning up the board some here for J-Man. I mean, he's pretty low. The Force of Nature is in hand. In fact, is this lethal damage? All that's there is the Noble Sacrifice to play around. Yeah, and that's going to be lethal damage. Wow, what a quick series. I mean, like I was saying, a few aggro decks can definitely get the job done for you. We saw Zoo and a Secret Paladin into Mech Druid, which I guess, you know, it's basically aggro Druid. And that's a quick 3-0, and they're going to be 4-0 for the season. Probably going to be one of the top-seeded teams going into playoffs.
Yeah, UCLA definitely looking like a very strong team. Yeah, even when I played them at another college tournament, they were already a really top team, high up in the seeding as well.
Right. Yeah, really well done by them. Yeah, good games to all the teams that played tonight. Definitely saw some exciting matches, some new and interesting decks. We even saw a Shadow Form Priest.
Yeah, Shadow Form Priest, a Reno Paladin, Mech Druid.
Anything can happen, man. That's definitely proved itself true tonight. So we hope you guys enjoyed the broadcast. Once again, we would like to thank our sponsors, Twitch, of course. Big thanks to them for sponsoring the CSL and featuring our matches weekly. We're proud to be affiliated with the largest gaming stream provider in the world. We'd also like to thank Asus ROG. Asus is the presenting sponsor of the CSL this year. Asus makes some of the world's best gaming PCs, laptops, and monitors. And Asus is funding this season's travel to DreamHack and our prize pool for the year. Be sure to follow their social medias like at @Asus_ROG and thank them for sponsoring the CSL. And of course, you can check out our Twitter over at CSL Hearthstone. Be sure to follow us over there, and our Facebook. Be sure to like Collegiate Hearthstone. That is our Facebook page. And make sure to be back here on Wednesday at 6 p.m. Pacific for some more Hearthstone action. Of course, you can check out the schedule below to see what other games will be going on. We have CSGO, League of Legends, Dota, StarCraft 2, all kinds of awesome games being played. And if you miss any games, make sure to head over to our YouTube over at youtube.com/CStarLeague. And under the CSGO section, you can find all broadcasted matches. So once again, we'd like to thank everyone for watching. We've got 3 weeks left in the spring, meaning we'll get to see some great games with lots of pressure on teams to perform over the next few weeks. Our next broadcast will be Wednesday, like I said, at 6 p.m. Pacific on CStarLeague. And be sure to follow both our Twitch channels, CStarLeague 2 and CStarLeague. We'll be heading east for Penn State versus Drexel on Wednesday, and then back west for UC Berkeley and UC Irvine. So have a good night, everybody. Once again, I am at Root Nomodogan on Twitter. Jordude, any plugs or anything else you'd like to throw out?
Yeah, thanks for the great cast tonight, guys. If you liked my casting or my insight on the gameplay, you could go check me out at Cole_the Jordude, or you can check me out on Twitch at the Jordude. And yeah, thank you, Nomo, for the co-cast, and I'll see you again next week.
Yeah, man, it was fun. Have a good night, everybody.